Ladies and gentlemen, Manchester United are back in the Premier League after turning our heads to the Champions League and doing something that a lot of people, even till now, are smiling about. We have to focus on the Premier League now. We have to focus towards Chelsea and see if we can grab those very vital 3 points that can take us closer to where we want to be in this Premier League season. One of the hardest games against PSG. We are facing yet again one of the harder games of the Premier League season in Chelsea. Very undecisive both teams, but let's talk about my match prediction right now. Let's do it. What's up everybody, it's the Aidan Sports Show and welcome back to another video. Today we've got a Manchester United versus Chelsea match predictions for the Premier League, where I go through my starting 11 and my final score prediction at the end of the video. But before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Aidan Sports Show YouTube channel, turn notifications on, and let me know in the comments below, what do you think about Manchester United versus Chelsea? Who do you think will win, and ultimately who has the better defense? That is a big question that's going around. You have analysts talking about it, you have other YouTubers talking about it, and I feel like it's just as important here as well. Who has the better defense, Chelsea or Manchester United? Because it's a big topic of discussion at the moment. But of course, Chelsea and Manchester United are two teams that are very, very similar to each other. They've been linked to each other in terms of who's been better and who's been worse for a good 2 years now, because of the situations that we've been in. Frank Lampard, a brand new manager for Chelsea, has been backed in this transfer window, and also for a good chunk of time has been doing this job, has very similar flaws to what Manchester United do have at the moment. Manchester United were backed in the first transfer window when Frank Lampard had a transfer ban, but in the second transfer window we basically weren't backed. So we are very similar in what we're trying to do with Manchester United and with Chelsea, and that's going to be a big thing here to see which team is currently further in their progression than the other, because at the moment Chelsea are ahead of us in the league, but I do think if we win this game we will go above them in the Premier League, and basically hopefully we can carry on from there. Chelsea, in my opinion, is going to be one of the harder games in the Premier League compared to a bunch of the other teams that we have, because we are versing a brand new Chelsea side. So many brand new signings, all of their signings look to be fit for us, and we're going to have a big test on our hands, as Manchester United are pretty much a very, very similar team to what Chelsea faced last year. So with that being said, we have a lot to discuss. First of all, first things first, the defense. The defense for both sides have been absolutely shocking. With Chelsea, I've watched a lot of Chelsea games. Of course, you watch the big teams most of the time. With Chelsea, it's more individual errors than anything. It's not really a team reason for a goal being conceded. There was one really poor one where Kepa and Zuma were at fault, and that is the standout mistake for Chelsea's season so far. But overall, it's been basically individual errors that lead to Chelsea goals being conceded, and there have been teams that have torn them apart this season. It's been known fact they did keep a clean sheet in their last game against Sevilla, which should drag them confidence for this game, and we're going to have to wait and see what Manchester United can formulate to try and beat that defense, because it's not indestructible, let's just say that. Same thing with Manchester United. Our defense has been woeful. We've conceded 6 goals against Tottenham. We have not kept a clean sheet outside of Luton Town, I believe, which was 3-0. And we on the defense, I can't lie, we are struggling. Even with our best, even with Tuanzebe, Lindelof and Luke Shaw, we conceded a goal. Granted, PSG didn't score that goal, but we did concede that goal. So the defense of this game could be vital to who and what team will win this game and get their 3 points and continue their season to a higher level than the other team. And it's as simple as that. The midfield, look, we could talk about the midfield all day long. Chelsea have such a fantastic midfield. And of course, the only standout in our midfield at the moment seems to be Bruno Fernandes. So it's going to be very interesting to see what Manchester United can formulate to try and win this game. This game is definitely going to be harder than I think a lot of people expect. But Manchester United fans, Manchester United players, I think we'll come into this game extremely confident after what they've done against PSG. I mean, PSG is not an easy side to beat, no matter which team they throw out there. That's a very, very tough game, and we played very well. And I hope to see that progress into this Chelsea game. Now, this game is very unpredictable. If we walk away with the win, I think a lot of people will say we probably would have deserved it. But if we walk away with a loss, it's not going to be surprising as well. That's the kind of situation where I'm in at the moment, where if we do lose this game to Chelsea, I'm not going to be shocked, because we've started the Premier League poorly. if we do win this game, I'm not going to be shocked because we've shown that we can play against big sides for a long time now. So I don't know what way we're going to have to go with this, but let's see what the starting 11 will be for Manchester United and Chelsea, specifically on the Man United side. In goal, I've gone with David De Gea. Absolutely sensational performance against Newcastle. Absolutely sensational performance against PSG. The man has been on fire from the start of the season, and the goals that are being scored against him has been totally and unjustly being targeted towards him, and it's absolutely not true. This guy's been on fire for so long in this season so far, and hopefully that fire continues. He's definitely in form. He definitely looks like the man that we've signed many years ago that tended to be the #1 goalkeeper. He's starting to slowly, I'm not going to try and put any pressure on him, but he's slowly getting his form back. And I want to see David De Gea keep on playing because there's no reason to drop him. And I feel sorry for Dean Henderson in this situation because he probably thought he would get a little bit more game time. Same with Donny van de Beek as well. We probably think that he deserves more game time, and maybe he does. But at the moment, how could you drop David De Gea? I mean, how can you drop him? What has he done wrong? He's done nothing wrong. And that's the thing. I think David De Gea should be a must play in this game against Chelsea. Right back, I'll go with Wan Bissaka. Now, there's always going to be conversations between who's better, Wan Bissaka and Reece James. You're a Chelsea fan, you're going to say Reece James is better. If you're a Man United fan, you're going to say Wan Bissaka is better. I'm just going to say that Wan Bissaka is better because I'm a Man United fan, obviously. But yeah, two fantastic right backs are going to go at it today. And that's what you like to see. You like to see the best teams, the best players from different positions battle each other out to see who's going to win it. And I can't wait to see that matchup. I think Wan Bissaka will do well. He's done well against Newcastle and PSG again. He absolutely shut down one of the world's best players in Neymar and Kylian Mbappe. So with that being said, there's a whole lot of confidence for Wan Bissaka coming into this game. I suspect him to play in a similar way that he did against Newcastle. He's going to be high up on the pitch. And hopefully we just don't fall to the counter-attack because that could be something that Chelsea can very much look at as an option to score against Manchester United, as so many other teams have done before it. Let's go into the centre-back pairing. Now, if you watch Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's press conference, he's very hopeful about Harry Maguire playing, and he's very hopeful about other players returning to this team as well, which is only good news. I mean, if Harry Maguire doesn't play, I still think it's good to know that he's going to be there at least. Whether he's on the bench or maybe if he's fit. It's always better to have a player fit than not fit. So I think that's good news, whether he does play or not. But me personally, I think Axel Tuanzebe needs to play in this game. I'm going to tell you why. The guy's been out for 1 year and his return was against one of the best teams in the world in PSG. He shut down one of the best players in the world in Kylian Mbappe. And he did that with a whole year out. Now, of course, injuries is always going to be a thing with Axel Tuanzebe. We don't know if he's going to be healthy for the majority of the season or if he's just going to end up falling into another injury which could potentially lead him to an Eric Bailly situation where he can be good enough, but maybe he just doesn't have the body and the fitness to do it. But of course, it's still an unknown with Axel Tuanzebe, and I think a lot of people can agree with this. Tuanzebe was a good option, and particularly could be a first option last season if he didn't get injured. So the way that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer talked about him today, saying he's a leader, he can play in multiple positions. He might not play in a centre-back position. He could play right back, could play in the midfield. That's what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said. So those things can be viable options. But I think he's going to play centre-back here solely because I think he brought us something that we don't have, and that's speed. And we have that with Eric Bailly. Eric Bailly's injured, but I think Axel Tuanzebe can be that player that we're going to have to rely on. I'm not going to say he's going to be the answer, because of course the answer is buying a new centre-back, but he can be someone that we have to rely on, and maybe, just maybe, he can develop into a special centre-back player for Manchester United with time being gone. There's no pressure on Axel Tuanzebe at the moment. I want him to play freely, I want him to play happily, and I want him to enjoy his time here until we can say without a shadow of a doubt he's going to be the future, or he's not going to be the future, whatever the case may be. But I think he deserves the opportunity. Played so well against PSG. I don't think you can drop him. Same with Victor Lindelof, and that's who I'm going to play. I'm going to play a back four in this game because I don't think Chelsea as much as Chelsea is a good attacking side, I think Manchester United need to be a little bit more attacking in this game as well, because basically Chelsea are going to score. It's all about Manchester United scoring as well. So that is the situation. I wouldn't play a back five to stop them from scoring, because eventually they're going to crack one past you. That's how good their attack is at the moment. So I think a back four would be fine in this game. I'm going to pick Victor Lindelof just because I don't think they're going to play Tammy Abraham in this game. I think their front line will be Pulisic, probably will be Havertz, and maybe it will be Ziyech, and obviously Timo Werner. So yeah, that's going to be their attacking line. Not one of them are really big aerial threats. So I think Victor Lindelof could have a potential to do well in this game, because he's a fantastic player when it comes to reading the game. That's just me personally. If they play Tammy Abraham, maybe Maguire is more capable of dealing with a player like Tammy Abraham or even Olivier Giroud. But in the meantime, as far as I know, Timo Werner, Ziyech, Pulisic and Havertz will probably all play in this game. So, or maybe even Mason Mount. So I do think that in retrospect, it's better to play Lindelof. But of course, if Harry Maguire's fit, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has already said multiple times that he's our captain, he's going to play. So Harry Maguire may play in this game. But if you're looking at a tactical side of things, I don't think Harry Maguire should be playing in this game. But again, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to make the risky decisions, and if the decision works out, he plays Harry Maguire, and Maguire does phenomenal, then we back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's decision. So that's basically up to him, but I think, personally, you have to go with the team that did well against PSG, and that would obviously involve Tuanzebe and Victor Lindelof, because none of them deserve to not play in this game. Moving on to left-back position, I've gone with Alex Telles. Now, it's vital to have Alex Telles in this team, in my opinion, because we're probably going to have a lot of set pieces in this game. We're going to have a lot of corners, we're going to have a lot of free kicks, because we're probably going to try and counter-attack them. And to counter-attack Chelsea could potentially get a lot of fouls in. If Jorginho plays, if Kante plays, there's a good chance that we could get a lot of free kicks in this scenario. Alex Telles, with every single corner that we had in that PSG game, landed on the head of Scott McTominay. He singled out Scott McTominay every single time, and every single time it went to him. As a set piece specialist from a corner, or even from a free kick, maybe even a penalty, who knows? Alex Telles is probably someone that could do damage. Again, introducing him into a big game like this in the Premier League is going to be a risky thing to do. But he's one of the best left-backs that we have, one of the best left-backs in the world. And it's time for him to prove it in the Premier League. There's no point in keeping him for the Champions League and not playing him in the Premier League, because this is what we brought him here for, the Prem. The sooner that he plays, the more he'll be able to adapt to it. And of course, he had a decent game against PSG, but he wasn't the standout. So maybe Luke Shaw does play. But I think for a more attacking option, you need to have Alex Telles in the team, and we'll see how things go from there. But I do think Alex Telles should play, and that's why I've picked him. In the CDM positions, it's very, very similar. I'm going to pick Fred. Fred, in no way, shape or form, in my opinion, should be dropped. So, was so great against PSG, was good against Newcastle. He gives us something that Pogba doesn't give us, and probably Van de Beek and Matic in that position doesn't give us. Tenacity, running, effort, and passing. Now, Matic is a fantastic passer, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that. Donny van de Beek can do all those things, but I think Donny van de Beek needs to play higher up on the pitch. But Fred does it from a CDM position, and I think that we're going to need that run. Chelsea's midfield will probably take over the game, especially in spades. They're going to probably have Jorginho, Kante, Mason Mount. Again, they could have Havertz. All of them are maybe not playing in the midfield, but are midfielders. They're going to be able to keep the ball very well against us. So we're going to need to find a way to bring so much effort, to bring so much tenacity, to win the ball back and try and make sure we keep the ball as well. And the answer, in my opinion, is Fred in that CDM position. And I don't think it's going to be it shouldn't be debated, in my opinion. Fred needs to play. Now, this other CDM position is going to be extremely interesting as well. You could play Scott McTominay. You could play Paul Pogba. Again, Paul Pogba is someone that hasn't started for 2 games now. You could drop Paul Pogba. You could continue to play him. And also, we do have Nemanja Matic, who's also was a very good CDM last season. He hasn't played as much. In my opinion, look, if I was Ole, I would stick to the guns that have been winning you games at the moment, and that would probably be Scott McTominay. I think Scott McTominay probably should play. Pogba, once again, will probably get dropped, and I don't know what you guys feel about that. but Pogba was good against PSG, and maybe that takes his lineup back in the spot back. But at the moment, Scott McTominay had a good game against PSG. I think he definitely did. He wasn't a standout, but he definitely did all right. And he gives you the same things Fred does in terms of heart and tenacity and run and effort. Scott McTominay is probably one of the most hard-working players on that team. And I don't see why Ole would drop him, especially since he's the one that gave him that chance. But in my opinion, I would probably play Paul Pogba. I probably would play Paul Pogba in this game, but we're going to have to wait and see what Ole decides. I think Ole will decide Scott McTominay. That's why I think Scott McTominay will play. In the cam position, it's pretty straightforward. It's Bruno Fernandes, our midfield maestro, makes everything happen. He's really developing into a great player, you know. Even when he's at his worst, he's contributing in some way. He's developing, man. He's developing to something special. And it's similar to what Havertz have with Chelsea, to be fair. Havertz, in my opinion, hasn't really lit the world on fire, but he's done very well for Chelsea. And that's a situation where Chelsea have something special on their hands with Havertz. We have something special on our hands with Bruno Fernandes, man. And we really are seeing it more and more. And that's what I love. That's what I love to see, man. And Bruno Fernandes was the captain last week. If Harry Maguire does not play, he'll be the captain here as well. And I do think he is a captain for Manchester United. It really does look like it. And I can't wait to see if he could do something against Chelsea in this game. Going into the wingers and the striker, look, I think we're going to play a very similar team to Newcastle. So that means I think Daniel James will play on the left wing. And whatever you guys think about that, Daniel James had a very interesting game against Newcastle in the way that he was running at defenders, and I think we need to see more of that. Now, Daniel James doesn't always have the best decision making on the team, but one thing I don't want to see is Daniel James get hesitant and scared and just pass backwards for a safety. I'd rather a risk from Daniel James than a pass that leads to nothing. So if Daniel James makes the wrong decision, I will take that on board just to see Daniel James be a threat to the opposition, because Daniel James is pacey. Daniel James can dribble. I know people don't seem to fathom that. Daniel James can dribble with the ball, especially at his pace. It's very hard to stop him when he's running at you. So, yeah, he might be predictable. He might make the wrong decision, but I'll take that on board to know that at least he's causing a threat to the opposition. And sooner or later, he's going to make the right decision. So hopefully that decision comes against Chelsea. And hopefully he can have another good game and stand out for Manchester United like he did at the start of last season. I'm hoping on this because I think Daniel James is a player that we're probably going to need. And we'll keep on going. We'll keep on going. Going into the right wing position, I picked Juan Mata. Juan Mata, again, has started off the season fairly well. He looked like a different player at the beginning of this season than I've seen in the past 2 seasons of Juan Mata. He's playing more centrally, even on that right wing position. He seems to be a little bit more central, which could be a big threat for the counter-attack if Chelsea want to counter-attack us, because Mata won't be in his position. But on the ball, Mata and Bruno seem to have this special connection that seems to be nearly unplayable. And I think Mata needs the opportunity to play against a big team so we can get an indication of how good Mata can be for us this season, or if he's just going to do it against the lower sides like Newcastle. I think Juan Mata deserves that opportunity. I would love Van de Beek to start in this position, don't get me wrong, but I just don't think Ole's going to give him a start. I don't know why. I really don't know why. I would love Donny van de Beek and Bruno Fernandes to play with each other. So I think very similar intelligence could be displayed with both of those players as Mata and Bruno. But I just don't think Ole's going to do it, and that's why I'm not going to do it either. But I really want Donny van de Beek to start, and I will not question Ole Gunnar Solskjaer if Donny van de Beek starts in any position in this game. And the striker position, I've gone with Marcus Rashford. Now, I know you guys are going to be asking, where is Edinson Cavani? I've heard nothing about Edinson Cavani in terms of if he's going to be fit or not. I think Ole said that he's going to have one last training session today, which would have been yesterday, and then they're going to talk about it and discuss if he's ready. So if that is the indication, then there's clearly a chance that he's not ready, and I'm not taking that risk to play Cavani if there's a slight chance he's not ready. I would rather give him a week, let him play against Arsenal, and play Marcus Rashford. And maybe we lose the game. Maybe Cavani's fit. He plays and we win the game. But for this starting 11, if there's any chance Cavani's not ready, then we should not be forcing him into the game. It's as simple as that. The guys have played in nearly a year now. So there's no reason to just shove him in and hope he succeeds. Give him the time to try to actually have a chance to be fit and succeed at Manchester United instead of just throwing him in there and hoping for the best. That's just my opinion. Cavani may as well play. If Cavani does play again, I'm not going to dispute. I'm not going to be angry. Cavani can very well play this game because there is a chance that he can be fit. But that is the team that I think Manchester United will start with in terms of Chelsea. And Chelsea will have a very similar starting 11 than we've seen for the past few games, except Thiago Silva will probably be fit and their goalkeeper Mendy will probably be fit as well. So in my opinion, that defense might be a little bit harder to tackle than ours. But I think we have the players that could go and do something against Chelsea. But in my head, and I always do this against the big teams, in my head, my head is screaming draw. My head is screaming draw. And for the sake of this video, I'm going to say it's a draw. That's my prediction. I'm predicting a 2-2 draw to Chelsea. But Manchester United have more than enough to win this game, and vice versa for Chelsea. Chelsea have enough to beat us as well. Manchester United, if we are to win this game, will send a message that we are not dead and buried in the Premier League. I mean, yes, Tottenham 6-1 was one of the worst games I've ever seen as a Manchester United fan. If we could bounce back in the Premier League, because as good as the Champions League is, it's not the Premier League. If Manchester United can bounce back in the Premier League by beating a team like Chelsea, who granted have not had a dramatically fantastic start to their Premier League campaign, but do have a great team on their hands, it's going to be a big message for Manchester United. I'm going to give Chelsea the respect they deserve here, because I think that their start is based on the fact that they have all these brand new signings and they just haven't had enough time to gel together. That's what I'm going to say about Chelsea. I think Chelsea deserve a little bit of respect. So I'm going to give them that respect. I'm going to say it's going to be a draw. If it is a draw or not, who knows? But whatever the case may be, I am feeling confident about this game. I'm not going to lie to you, but my head is screaming draw, and I think we're going to draw. So that's it. That is my match prediction for Manchester United versus Chelsea. It doesn't feel good to say that we're going to draw or lose in a game. But sometimes you just have to be honest with yourself. We will be coming into this game confident. I'll be coming into this game confident. Chelsea fans will be coming into this game confident. But I do think that a draw is probably the most likely result to happen out of these two sides. Both sides will probably concede a very terrible goal, and both sides will probably score a fantastic goal, and that's how it's going to go. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new to the Aidan Sports Show YouTube channel. Turn notifications on. I'll see you guys later on today in my Manchester United versus Chelsea match reaction. And let's see if Manchester United will walk away with a victory, or will I be on here being upset when we lose. Take care and peace.